Hi, I'm Senator Malcolm Roberts and I'm in Trinity Inlet in Cairns. You see a cruise ship here, trawler behind us, and recreational boats and trawlers on the other side of Trinity Inlet. Now I'm with Pepe Iovannella. How's that?
Correct.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Pepe's family is the owner of the largest tour operator, Australian family-owned tour operator in Cairns. They do tours to the reef. He's got many other businesses.
Yep.
Cairns depends on tourism, right, Pepe?
We're a key element of Cairns. We're probably in the top 5, if not the first. It's crucial for a business, and obviously in the COVID year we've been struggling. And if it wasn't for JobKeeper, we'd be definitely, most of operators would be closed by now.
Right, so the government's restrictions around COVID, state and federal, have gutted Cairns. Cairns has suffered more than any other community in the country. Its income, gross domestic product, has gone down 16%. Its economy is faltering.
Yes.
And it needs to come out of that. And what Pepe is doing is he can see that the trend is towards larger cruise vessels to get higher turnover. And yet the Port Authority is being restricted by the state government, so you won't get those larger boats.
So back in 2016, when they announced that to dredge to allow larger cruise ships, which are crucial to Cairns, to bring millions of dollars of money and passengers and tourist numbers. They promised us 4 million cubic metres of dredging. After they got elected,
just before the election, under
before
pressure from
the election,
they promised $120 million.
All parties agreed, and Labor were last to come on board. They finally agreed to dredge and give us the money for 4 million cubic metres if they won. Whoever won the election, Labor won the election, so they were had to commit to honour their commitment, and they promised us 4 million cubic metres. 2 years later, we got 700,000, which essentially is our maintenance dredging for the year.
So that's about 16% of what they promised.
Correct.
And so it's very important to understand that Trinity Inlet is fed by creeks, and just like every other inlet fed by creeks and rivers, silt comes in. Silt builds up when it hits the stagnant water, or the steady water of the ocean, and silt fills up the harbour. And so you have maintenance dredging to keep the harbour at the right level, and then you have capital dredging, which expands, deepens, widens the harbour.
Yep.
And so Cairns is going to miss out, it would almost miss out on the maintenance dredging, and it is going to miss out on the capital dredging to get these bigger cruise vessels.
Yeah. Obviously, as time goes on, the cruise ships get bigger. We need to cater, even as the commercials, our commercial vessels have got bigger over time. Cruise ships get bigger. We need to cater for cruise ships. And that's why it's imperative that we get back and do the 4 million cubic metres of dredging that was promised by the Labor Party.
But Cairns, I didn't realise this, Cairns is the largest, has the largest number of vessel movements of any regional port in Australia.
Correct. Yeah, we've got the largest number of Class 1 vessels, Class 2 vessels. We have the highest number, as the trawler industry is huge in Cairns. We have reef boats that go out to, Coral Princess goes out to taking passengers overboard. So we've got all those apart from our day passengers. So we've got a whole plethora of combination of boats that run out of port, and which makes us the #1 port in Australia.
And what happened to this port was that somebody in their wisdom, and without any scientific evidence, the state government moved the port limit, moved the national park limit to within the port, so that stopped any dredging within the port. I mean, this is dumb. It goes completely against the science. So that then led to a large fight. But you've also got not only the state government, but the globalists and the federal government, people like Greg Hunt at the time, who all bowed to the almighty people in the WWF and the other UN-led organisations, which are now choking Cairns. That's basically it.
Correct, yeah. So we've got the largest fleet in Australia running out of port, and yet we're not a priority port. You know, other ports, there's 4 other ports in Queensland that are priority ports.
Gladstone, Mackay and Hay Point.
And yet we're the #1 port for movements, #1 port for maintenance. People relying on boats to earn their income, trawler industry, and yet we're still stifled by the Labor government, but not allowing us to have priority. So if we had priority port status, that would fix a lot of our issues.
I mean, this is so stupid. We've got cruise liners anchored off the coast here, and passengers being ferried in and out. We'd have far more people if they could put their feet on the ground, if they tied up here at a decent wharf and could get out and spend their money at service stations, motels, entertainments, restaurants. And that's what Cairns is missing out on. Cairns is being belted by international tourism shut down because of the airline traffic, being belted by the cruise industry being shut down. But when you finally get out again, you want to thrive. And you can't do that with these dopey buggers in government.
We're the ideal port to be a turnaround port for cruise ship industry. Brisbane Port has been increased. They've spent $1 billion on Brisbane Port, yet they don't want to spend a cent here in Cairns. So they're stifling Cairns' growth.
And get this, they see tankers taking oil from northern countries down to Brisbane, putting it on road tankers and transporting it up by truck to Cairns. How stupid is that when these tankers should be unloading here? I mean, they're just holding the north back, holding the state back.
The stupidest thing is our sugar industry can't even pick up from the sugar terminals anymore because obviously the ships are bigger, so they can't fill the capacity. So we're only half filling your sugar ships out of Cairns.
We blame the United Nations for the blue and the green tape, but we especially blame the people who just bow to the UN, state and federal globalists, and that's it. They're the ones destroying the city.
Oh, absolutely, 100% agreement.